So what is up, guys? Nick here from Everything Tech, and I've had the Android 7.0 Nougat update for my Galaxy S7 for about 3 weeks now. And in this video, I want to share with you like a 3 weeks later review with my experience with it, how it has been on Android 7.0 Nougat to kind of help you decide if you want to update your software. So with that being said, let's get into this episode right now. Let's go. So I'm showcasing this video on an AT&T Samsung Galaxy S7 Nougat, so keep in mind that this is running the Snapdragon 820 CPU with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So this is not the Exynos model here in this Galaxy S7, and I know there's a lot of people that would rather see the S7 Edge, but I did not choose the S7 Edge as my primary driver because I have a Note 5 and I don't want a larger S model phone. I prefer the larger Note series of phones. So that is the reason why that. But with that out of the way, let's begin with my first thing I want to talk about with Android Nougat. Before we get to that, let me go ahead and confirm that I am running Android Nougat here on this device. So let me go over here. Let's go to About Device, and you can see Android 7.0 Nougat is available for your devices now. Now, this is not the latest Android version. I believe the latest Android version is 7.1.2. It's now in public beta testing, but it's not going to be available for public release for a little bit of time here. So 7.0 is like a dot release behind, but it's still pretty much the latest version of Android overall. So one of the first things I want to speak of that has been greatly improved here on the Samsung Galaxy S7 in terms of the Android 7.0 Nougat update is going to be the always on display. I found there to be more layouts, and it just has a much more robust overall feature set in terms of what you can do with the always on display here on Android 7.0 Nougat. Now you have the ability to, you could be playing music. Let me go ahead and play a song. And let's see what happens. Let's play Break You In by Riot Tracks. Let's turn that down. Let's play that again. So let's see Always on Display. So you can see you can now interact with the music right there from the Always on Display. So you have the ability to do that if it would pause. So yeah, a little bit of hesitation there on my tabs. Maybe I was missing it, but you can see it is a much more interactive, always on display here for Android 7.0 Nougat. And you could do other things. You can see more notifications than ever before here on Android Nougat. So I do enjoy that. So that's the first thing I want to talk about with Nougat here for Galaxy S7. So after using the Galaxy S7 for 3 weeks, one of the things I appreciated the most here with Android Nougat is the ability to scale the screen resolution or change the screen resolution to 1080p here. You could change it to QHD, which is 1440p or 720p. So for those of you who are like, you understand display tech and you know like, oh, well, if I get a cheap phone, I get a 720p display, a 1080p display on a medium range phone, or I get on a flagship level phone a 2K display. Here you have the ability to make your phone whatever resolution you want. And that just goes and plays into the whole reason why we love to use Android devices. And Samsung giving you this option here right within their software. I mean, you could do this stuff before with rooting your Android device, but to see this on stock software is very awesome, and I really enjoyed this. And putting this on 1080p did save me quite a bit of battery life here for the Galaxy S7 on Android Nougat. Also, I want to mention that I did enjoy, after using this 3 weeks, the ability to change my screen zoom as well as the font sizes. It was really nice to do that here very easily here in Android Nougat, so I did appreciate that. Here's another feature that became indispensable. Like, I wouldn't want to go back to an Android 6.0 device on Samsung anyway, because of this one feature they just included here. Now, blue light filter. Now, night shift has been on Apple devices for a very long time, but blue light filter here on the Galaxy S7 is a great feature. And I feel like the opacity gets a little bit better and dimmer at night than the Apple iDevice does. This one actually gets a little more yellow, so it does reduce eye strain a little bit more, I found, than even my iPhone device. And I do use a 7 Plus 2 as well, so I know pretty much what they both look like based on my experience. This one gets a little bit better. But let me know if you use both devices and which blue light filter you think is better, the iPhones or the Samsung Galaxy's phones. So that's pretty much one of my favorite things I've discovered from Android Nougat on the Galaxy S7. So I'm pretty sure what you're thinking is, Nick, well, I understand those cool features that come with Nougat, but what is the performance been like on your Android Nougat update? And I can tell you that it's been pretty great overall. Like, it performs well. It's still not as blazing fast as I would like. I think that there's still a little bit of hangs here and there in the TouchWiz user interface, even here on Android Nougat. It performs pretty great. It's pretty slick, definitely modern, definitely not going to cause a headache or anything like that day to day. It's going to get the job done it's still a flagship level performance. It's just here and there apps will hang a little bit, and I don't find it to be as buttery smooth as like Apple's iPhone 7. And that's not because I'm an Apple fan over a Samsung fan. I actually use Samsung device more than an Apple device, regardless of, you know, if you see more Apple videos on my channel, I still use Samsung more than an Apple device. So I do appreciate, you know, the fluidity of Nougat. I think it's a little bit better than Marshmallow in my experience, but some people might have different experience. And let me know how your experience has been with the Android Nougat in terms of speed. I've been enjoying it so far though after 3 weeks. Now I can't do a, you know, Android Nougat update revisited video without talking about the battery life that I've been receiving on my Samsung Galaxy S7 for this Nougat update. So I've been getting about 3 to 4 hours on screen time if I'm using QHD mode on the Galaxy S7. If I'm using the 1080p mode and I keep the location services off, I get anywhere from 4 to 5 hours on screen time. I did not have an issue getting through the day here with Android Nougat on battery life, and you guys aren't going to either if you're not super heavy users. Now, if you are heavy users, of course, any smartphone is going to die halfway through the day if you're a super heavy user. But this one definitely did make me through the day. Even with fast charging, you know, that even makes it better because now we have the ability to charge our Samsungs incredibly fast. So even if your battery does die, it'll juice up super quick that you'll probably even forget about the fact that it died. I mean, you could go in the shower, put this on charge, come back, and you have like 30 more percent. It's that good on battery charging. So yeah, battery life pretty solid, not amazing. It didn't improve so much over Marshmallow, but it still gets me through a day. One thing I did not appreciate about this Nougat update is I felt like that, you know, with Nougat, the overheating was gonna stop with my Galaxy S7, maybe because the software was not optimized well with Android Marshmallow. But I have found that even though, you know, this might just be a Snapdragon variant problem, I don't know, but this phone definitely got pretty hot from time to time, even here on Android Nougat. Now, like I say, I am using the AT&T model. This should apply to the Sprint model, the T-Mobile model, any of the US carrier models here, or even the US unlocked version. This phone did get a little hot from time to time. Now, that's just my experience. Let me know yours down below. Does your device overheat at all on the Galaxy S7? Let me know. But I had a little bit of overheating. It wasn't like so bad that it's gonna like burn my hand or anything, nothing like that, but it did get uncomfortably warm from time to time on the GS7, and I did not like that at all. I had to keep a case on because it was that uncomfortable. So that's pretty much one of the things I didn't like about Nougat. One thing I did come to appreciate is that Samsung cleaned up their camera interface on their Samsung Galaxy S7 and later devices on Nougat, and you can see it's a much cleaner camera interface now. They kind of got those lines out of the side of where they keep their toggles, so it's just a very nice viewfinder now for taking pictures. Very clean camera icon there, and you can go ahead and just flick. We've been waiting for this feature forever. You can just flick to go ahead and go to the selfie mode. Now if we go over to the left, you can see all of your modes remain: the Pro mode, panorama, selective focus, slow motion, hyperlapse, and much more if you go ahead and download it from the Samsung store. Now going to the right, there is your filters, and that's pretty much it. Still got the double click to open the camera, and it still takes a picture pretty quickly, and it still focuses amazingly quickly. So appreciated this new camera software for Android Nougat. After 3 weeks, I thought it was pretty clean, very nice to use. So camera's a win here for 7.0 Nougat. Also, after 3 weeks, I cannot forget about, you know, the new notification toggles. I just really enjoyed this new notification toggle setup. I think it's much cleaner than the one in Android 6.0 Marshmallow, and I really like how they touched this up, and the ability to customize these very easily is nice. Also, the notifications that you get are now bundled, and it's a much better notification system. This whole whole entire notification system in general on Android Nougat has been great for the Samsung Galaxy S7. So I think you guys will appreciate that if you decide to update, if you haven't already, to Android 7.0 Nougat. And that's really great. The notification system is a win here for Galaxy S7 on Android 7.0 Nougat. One of my favorite features from the Android 7.0 Nougat update, and this actually came to 6.0 devices as well now, so this is not really relevant anymore to Nougat, but having the Google Assistant here on the Galaxy S7 has been great, and I don't really even know why I even have S-Voice on my phone anymore. I don't know who uses S-Voice. Let me know if you guys use S-Voice, but this Google Assistant is miles better than S-Voice. So we could say, okay Google, and you see there is the Google Assistant. It did take a while because I'm standing pretty far away from the mic, but you can see it picks up text like it's nobody's business, answers questions really quickly, and the Google Assistant was great here for this update on the Galaxy S7, and it was actually more responsive to my voice than the old Google Now that was on here where I said, okay Google, and it wouldn't respond. See, it even responded to me there. So I was liking the accuracy. Google Assistant works flawlessly here on the Galaxy S7 for Android 7.0 Nougat after my 3 weeks of use. So let's talk about some smaller things that I did not cover in this video instead of features. I haven't had any signal issues here with Android Nougat. Bluetooth, everything has been working just fine in my experience over the past 3 weeks using Nougat. So if you guys were wondering about things like that, like those little things like call quality and Bluetooth issues, Wi-Fi connectivity issues, stuff like that, personally on my AT&T edition, I did not receive any of those issues, and this was actually one of the better updates overall that I've ever seen a carrier push out, because sometimes, you know, with updates that they kind of ruin the phone when you do an update on your device, and this actually didn't ruin the phone. This actually made it a little bit better in my experience. 6.0 was a little bit choppier than Nougat. Nougat still does have some chop here on the Galaxy S7 from time to time. It's still not a flawless operating system, probably much smoother there on Google Pixel, but overall I still did enjoy it, and I still think it's top of the line. It's like flagship level, so overall, pretty solid operating system in my experience. So the question might be, should you update to, you know, Galaxy S8, or should you just keep your S7, stay on Nougat for a while? And that really comes down to, you want the latest and greatest, you know, Android device. I think the Galaxy S8 is going to be a much different design over the S7, but the S7 recently came down and it's under $400 now on Samsung.com, brand new. So that's a heck of a deal. They just dropped the price because of the Galaxy S8's upcoming launch, and yeah, Android 7.0 Nougat is a go here. I would say go ahead and download it if you're looking for a pretty clean software with many new features. I think you're going to be happy with it overall, but that's just my take on it after 3 weeks. Let me know what you think about the Android 7.0 Nougat update for the Galaxy S7 or the Galaxy S7 Edge. It would be appreciated. Comment that down below. This was Nick here, helping to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.